Hey, Lawrence.
Hello. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Very nice
Good.
here in Georgia. Where you are?
A nice, not too hot day. Excuse me. About 80 degrees, I think. 75, 80.
Oh, okay.
I went on a
Great.
vacation. Went to a vacation
Oh.
to Europe, and it was like 100 degrees every day, everywhere we went.
You didn't happen to go to the Wimbledon, did you?
No. We went to we went to Switzerland to a Lake Interlaken, and it's really beautiful there. And but it was stinking hot every day. You think in the mountains it'd be a bit cooler, but it wasn't. But it was nice.
Interesting.
It was nice.
Well, at least you were near the home of Roger Federer, even if you couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Well,
we did pass through London for a couple of days, but not for very long.
Oh, okay.
So
today, what we're going to do is we're going to take about 15 minutes just to go over, some things that you may have not had a chance to see inside of ionDESK. I'm going to be very brief, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. And then, like the main premise, though, is really where I'll probably start is the API, unless you want to go, it just depends on which way you want to go. If you want to see the API in work, as it's working, I can go right here in the Visual Studio and we can begin to look at the API and actually see it do something.
So can I just ask you a few questions first?
Sure.
And just sort of general. So there's a bit of background. So as you know, I've been trying to do different trading patterns to see if I can come up with something that I like. And I've shown you some software that I've developed, which tracked stocks in close to real time and tried to pick which ones are rising, which ones are falling. That method didn't really work because by the time I discovered the stocks that were rising, they were tending to fall back. And so didn't really work. And I think you mentioned something about you needing to find the stocks before they're rising, which is true. So I've come up with... Go on.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I've tried different things. To be honest with you, I haven't had any particular success, except in one area and that one area involves aggregating groups of stocks together and releasing orders in parallel and closing them out in parallel and trying to use that group to they smooth each other out. So you might, within that group over a period of time, one will be rising heavily, another will be tanking, and some will just be in between.
Right.
So I'm trying to get away from picking individual stocks and trying to track each one individually. Okay.
Right.
So what I did is the closest I could come to. So I've been tracking stocks for a number of different groups of stocks, and I worked out a method of picking a group to track. And there's one group that I've been tracking, and I've been averaging about 1% to 1.5% per month. Okay. Not per month, sorry, per day per month. Sorry, not per month, but it's like over 1% per day, and it's been consistent from February. Okay. So when I've tested it, I've tried to use Etrade. They have a spreadsheet control that they use, which they don't actually support now. And what you can do is, set up a bunch of potential orders, and you can release them in one hit. So the problem with it is you can't realistically put in limited prices because this is all dynamic, right? So you have to put in market orders for buying and sell. So essentially, I can lose in that process 0.25% on either, up to 0.15% on each side of the trade through being a market order. So I can lose quite a bit on that basis. Plus, the time it takes to process the orders can be 20 seconds or so, and it's doing them all in serially, not parallel. So, so basically, in that 20 seconds, if the stocks are tanking or increasing, it can change the whole equation quite substantially.
Oh yeah.
So that's sort of some of the So that's some of the sort of issues that I'm encountering. So I'm kind of hoping to be able to get something together where I can just, when I see that I want to start ordering those stocks, I just press a button, and boom, a whole bunch of them are thrown at the API in hopefully in parallel or in some way or other.
Right.
And the orders. Go on.
No. I was going to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a partial solution that I built for another client. And of course, since you already have a mechanism, I'm going to show you how you can shortcut and use the API directly. Okay. So one of the newest caveats that is within ionDESK, which it works extremely well. And from what I understand, you are a VB programmer, or you have VB experience?
VB.net, but I haven't got anything with Windows Foundation.
Okay. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't mater. It doesn't matter at all. You don't even have to have that because that's the plumbing that we use, and we've done all of that plumbing for you. The only thing you have to do is make calls, place order, get quotes, get historical data, whatever. So you don't have to even worry about it. So, like this is the interface, that currently exists, and you may or may not remember it. We have our robotic area, we have a bracket as order, and we've got, some other tools here, package order, we've got the account view, like all the basic things you need. We got a stock screener, we got some script. But what I'm going to subscribe that you use is our Linx API. And I really don't have a diagram as to how it works, but I'd like to show you very quickly here. Let's see, where is PowerPoint? There it is. And so let me show you very quickly as to how the Linx API works. Okay, so I'm just going to type in something here. All right. And so this is the ionDESK Linx API overview. And I'm just going to say ignore that. And the way it works is that we have ionDESK here. Okay. I'm going to shrink this down. Okay.
Just by the way, can you hear me clearly when I'm talking?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. You're crystal clear. Sometimes people have trouble hearing me on my when I'm going through Wi-Fi. Yep.
No, you're fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another box here. Let's see. All right, and this represents your VB app. Okay, that can run totally external to ionDESK. All right. Now, with the Linx API, what happens is it makes a bridge in between ionDESK and your application. And the cool thing about it is that you don't have to start and stop your application to test anything. And so as long as ionDESK is running and your application is running, there is almost like a radio-like signal that is running all of the time, which allows you to communicate back and forth with ionDESK. Okay?
Can I just stop you for one sec? Can I just stop you for 1 sec? Just to give you a background, I used to have a software company with 15 developers and 60 people.
Right.
And we used to do APIs all the time. Well, I didn't do the APIs. I had a whole team doing all sorts of APIs. We must have done about 50 different APIs for customers. So I'm just so you know, I understand in concept how a lot of this stuff works. I'm not just a part-time VB programmer. It just does it at home. I have a business.
I'm not. Yeah,
I'm just saying so you understand when you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Just I have to,
It's
so with this for question, you said you had two different modes. Is one of them like a web service mode, and the other one is like hooking into a DLL, hook my application directly into a DLL?
well, yeah, but the one that is the one DLL is strictly for building strategy type apparatuses. So, like for instance, we went here and looked at the development center, and we looked at the different models. So you have the application model, and so we have APIs for creating add-ins, and we have APIs for linking external apps to ionDESK so that you can place orders and do whatever it is you want. Okay?
Okay. So you really only have you have one then doing the order processing.
Right. And so this one right here is if you wanted to create something that would take historical data and turn it into a buy-sell signal for an order.
Mm-hmm.
This one would be if you wanted to communicate, and that's the one I'm about to show you. All right?
Okay.
And so if you were building add-ins, these are all of the types of add-ins. You can make a broker, which you communicate back and forth with a broker. You can make a data provider, which would go and get historical data or some other type of data. You can make a scan provider, symbol selector, or trigger, or window, whatever. And so these are the models, but these are the two APIs. All right? So I'm going to show you how the Linx API works. And like I said, this is basically the schematic. And so let's see it in action. All right? So one of the first things, the way that it works is communicating via TCP. And we would need to go here and make sure that it's turned on. So right now, it is turned on. The Linx API is enabled. That means that it's listening on this particular port and this particular host. Okay? All right? And so as long as, and that's the default. And so there's nothing that we have to do on our client side. So I'm going to go here and essentially create a new project. And I'm going to
Is that on your side or my side that's beeping?
I'm not sure. I think it was me pressing the button. All right. All right. Linx API example. All right. First thing I'm going to do is make references to the proper DLLs. I'm going to add a reference, and I'm going to navigate to ionDESK. Let's see here. Let's hit browse. And we're going to go to C. Let's see, program 86, Campbell software. And we're going to locate the DLLs, which should be here. And the two that we need, or the three that we need.
Are these 32-bit DLLs or 64, or do you have both?
I'm sorry?
Are they 32-bit DLLs, 64-bit DLLs, or do you have both?
This is 64.
64.
This is 64, but it can run as a 32. It has a mode that it can run as 32.
Okay.
All right, so let me let's see, let me select these guys. We need, let's see, this guy, we need the Linx API, and we also need the ionDESK extension. All right? So I'm going to hit OK, and now these guys are part of our project. Let me show all files. All right, and they are referenced there. And really the only thing we need is, we don't need the server. We really just need the client. All right, and so now that this is a part of our project, I'm just going to go here very quickly and create a button. And that's going to activate our feature to do something. I'm going to click on it. Say, I'm going to put you on speaker because I'm trying to hold the phone while I'm talking.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
All right. And so let's see. I'm going to say C as new ionDESK Linx client, Linx client. All right, and that basically instantates our client for us. Now, what do we want to do? There are a lot of things that we can do here. We can get account information. We can get data. We can do things with orders, like basically place an order. Right there, we can place a prepared order. So, like, there's a lot of things we can do there. We can go as well as go into system info services. And so the API is very straightforward. Like, if we look at data, we can go here and flush charts. We can get open, hollow, closed data from ionDESK, and we basically pass one parameter. We can get a quote. So if I wanted to go here and say dim Q equal to that guy, and I want to get a quote of Facebook, all right? And I'll make it.
It looks nicely put together.
Huh?
It looks nicely put together.
Yeah, I wanted to make it extremely easy, and as you see, I've already inferred the quote, and so it already knows that Q is a quote, so we don't have to do anything special there. So let's just run it. We're going to run this guy. We're going to press the button. Okay, and so we have our quote object back, and let's see. So right now, the first time it returned us nothing because it had to go out and get it. So if we were to run this again, there's our quote data. There's the bid for Facebook. Let's go here and look at some other information inside of Facebook. There's the name, blah, 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 the last direction, up, down, and so on. And so, so like to make this more robust, we would have something like, I'm gonna stop this. And so we might have a situation where we say if is ready, if the data is ready, then, do one thing, message box. I'm sorry here.
So let me ask you a question about this. I get what you're doing generally. So this all makes sense so far. But let's say I'm tracking Facebook, right? And so I'm making a request for a quote, and so could I be looping around and doing a request every second or every half second and get a response?
Yep, you can do it as often as you like. So, you might have a background service running. I won't get into details of the construction of your application, but yeah, it's an API that's talking directly to ionDESK. So I'm about to place an order so that you can see that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to say C, we're going to say order, because C is our client, order is our interface. And so what we're going to do is we're going to place an order, and we're going to pass in O. O doesn't exist right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to dim O as a new ionDESK order. All right? And what we're going to do is this is going to return us back a response. So we're going to play around with this for a second. All right, I'm just going to bring this together, and I'm going to leave that part there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if R has errors, then show us what those errors are. Because it will have errors because I have not populated the order yet. And then we're going to go through and populate the order with about maybe 7 parameters, maybe 5 or so. Okay, so let's show the errors. First, okay, and we're going to say, let's see, that's first, and then that would be problem. Yep. All right. So it's gonna show us the error here, and we should have an error when we attempt to place an order without setting anything. Okay. So I'm gonna press the button, and it tells us that the price type is not set. So we would have all of it. I'm gonna actually go through and begin to fill out the order a little bit more, so that it makes a little bit more sense. So with O dot price type, and then we go and set our limit order or whatever we want. Okay, so we can say a limit order, and then we would set our limit price. We're going to say we want a limit price. The most we want to pay for what we're about to do is going to be $70 because we're going to buy Facebook. Let's see. The quote is going to be equal to our Q. All right.
Now, what does that mean? The quote is equal to Q?
Well, remember we went and got Facebook earlier.
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay. And so we have a quote here. And so this order needs to know, well, what do I need to buy? And so we could have just as easily said, we could have done that just as easily.
So you could fill out the whole details instead. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So we could have done that, but let's say we were buying an option, we would pass in a quote object that had all of the parameters associated with that order. Okay? All right, so let's do this again. I know that it's going to error because we're not done filling out. All right? So I'm going to press the button. We're going to have another message box that says the order type is not set. Let's go set it. Order type or order action, we need to do that. We want to buy. Let's see, order type. Okay, that's going to be, let's see, This is going to be actually, and then we're going to do our term. And all of this stuff is standard. This isn't anything new. Fill, kill, these are all of the same things that you would see on a form. Okay, so we're going to say, good for the day.
Yeah.
And we're going to run it again. Now, let's go take a look at ionDESK. We don't see any orders in our queue, and we're probably going to have to add an account type. Let's see, we're going to need to do that. Quantity is less than 0. Okay, we haven't set our quantity. All right, let's set our quantity. Let's see, I'm sorry.
So I use the Etrade. So would I be telling it to use Etrade and also my account number?
Right, you will be passing in your account number, but I'm going to actually let's see, I'm going to buy 1,000 shares of that, and so I'm going to do the account ID, and so this is going to be let's see, let's see, order. Let's see something here. I'm going to take this. This is something kind of special here. Get practice. Okay, so that's going to return us a practice ID where you might come in here with your Etrade, 4x4, 34-456. Okay? All right, so let's see if this thing should be about ready to place an order for us. Okay? Did I press the button? Let's see. Maybe I didn't press it. There's the order. You saw that?
No, I'm sorry, missed it. No.
Yep. There's the order in ionDESK.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And so that's an example of.
But when you say you've got the order in ionDESK, though, right, that order has been released. If it would have been released to Etrade already?
Yes. Yes, it would have.
And then how would you get a response back from me to say it processed and at what price? So if I put in a market, for example, what price did it actually go in?
You're going to, if you want to know that in your application, or you want to know that, how do you want to know that? You want to know it inside?
I wouldn't know that in my application.
Okay, so if that was in your application, whatever you do, you always get a response back. When I place that order, I get a response back. So let's clear this out, and let's see here. Now, in this case, we're going to be getting a generic response of an order. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the little app.
Is that generic response? Is that generic response, though, you're getting back an ionDESK response or an ionDESK response with Etrade information?
It's going to contain your Etrade information. Okay.
Okay, so it's giving the response back to Etrade. Okay.
Right. So just about everything that we do a little bit more than just telling you the errors. We give you a full, robust return of the data as well as any errors associated. So you would check for errors with any return of any ionDESK object, and then if there are no errors, then you know that your object was good. And then you would be able to take it apart and then see all of the data inside of it. So it's showing, like in this case, like let's change this up here. Instead of a limit, we're going to change it to a market order. Okay?
So just hang on for 1 second. I've got a question. I don't want to forget it. So I press the button and place the order, right? But now at Etrade, the order might go straight through, or the order might take 1, 2, 3, 5 seconds to process, right? Depending on whether there's someone out there that wants to buy or sell or whatever. So what happens to that response? How do I, if I'm trying to do a batch of orders, right? So I want to do order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each one of them is going to have a response back, but they might not be responding yet because Etrade hasn't processed. How does that get managed?
Well, you're able to query ionDESK anytime you want. It's going to return back with a response ID, and you can use that response ID to query ionDESK anytime you want to see the status of that order. I see.
Yeah, so I have to keep polling until I get my response back. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
There are other ways that we can go through the entire. I'm going to show you another client's application so you can get a different idea of how you can probably do this with ionDESK. Because this right here is just, placing a simple order. We can place extremely complex orders inside of ionDESK. Like, let's say if I built up a very complex order that contained a strategy, right? Like in this particular strategy, it's saying that once ionDESK sees three black crows, it's a pattern basically. Using a 5-minute interval, you can have all sorts of intelligence inside of your order. And so instead of your application just having to go through all of the code-based things, this thing could have easily said, I'm going to stop it here. We could have easily said order.load from a file. And we can load your template order and just change either the symbol, the account, and keep all of the intelligence of the order inside of the order because it was already built up inside of ionDESK. Because these things can be saved down as XML.
They can be saved down as what? They can be saved as what? Sorry.
It can be saved as it can be saved as an ionDESK order. Okay. Is that making sense? So, like for instance, if
it does. I do get what you mean. Yeah, I get it.
Right, and so what that means is that all of your intelligence can be after you place the order, and you don't have to poll for it again because it has the brains of your stop, it has the brains of your target already built into the order. Per each order, so you can submit hundreds, 50s, whatever you want to do of orders simultaneously, and they all have this intelligence, each order managing its own self without another app having to constantly poll it or do anything with it. It'll manage itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand. Well, I think I understand well what you're doing.
Yeah. So like, let me show you another application where another client is doing exactly what you want to do. Okay. I can't really mention his name, and I can't show you all the details of what he's doing, but I can show you the application and how it works. This is what my client and I built, and it's called the Bridge. And basically, it does the exact same things as the things that I've shown you over here, except for it does a lot more complex things. So like, for instance, the way his application works, we're going to start it up. So can you hold 1 second, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had to let someone come in. I want to continue our thing, but I'm gonna begin to cut it short. But here's the thing. I want to show you Dave's application, and the premise of his application is exactly what you're doing. Okay. Now I'm going to show you all of his stocks. I'm going to show you the gamut of stocks that he does when he's scanning. Okay, so here's an example of his master list. Okay, and so he might have 25 stocks on one particular sheet. Okay, right, and so he has his own logic in here, and so whenever his logic is found or is met, then he marks this particular column, I'm sorry, maybe this one, this particular column with a 1, all right? And so ionDESK or this Bridge application is constantly scanning his spreadsheet for the answer, okay? So I'm not going to load it and show you how everything works, but this is what his Bridge looks like.
But is he putting that in the spreadsheet manually himself, the ones? Or
yes,
is he responding based on information in your system?
Yes, he is, because he's finding those stocks that he wants based on scans that are on various scan sites. So he finds his stocks, he does his research, he puts them into the spreadsheet at night, and then in the morning he starts his Bridge up. This is the Bridge that
I get it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That basically
Yep.
we scan his sheet. I get quotes based on the symbols that he has in his spreadsheet. I bring them back to the Bridge, and then I begin to scan and submit various quote information, and then he tells me when to order. Once the order occurs, we pick up a template order and then send that to ionDESK, and then ionDESK will take his template order and begin to probe the market to see when his conditions are met so that the order can be placed. Okay? So, what you're doing is the way that the pros do it. I mean, like, this guy is a prop desk trader. I mean, he brought this to me. I didn't bring the solution to him. He just needed a way for a way to automate.
Right.
So,
my methodology, I think, is a lot simpler. Yeah.
But, at the same time, you see with his complexity, you can definitely do, if yours is much simpler, you can definitely do what you need to do with ionDESK very easily. So he trades about.
I can see what. I can see you've got the fundamentals of what I would need. So do you have to go soon? Just yeah. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut our meeting short, and And so what we'll do is
a couple of.
I'm sorry?
Just can I ask you a couple of questions before we bring this to a halt?
Okay.
So, do you have any performance issues or concerns? When I say concerns, not so much concerns, but requirements around your hardware for any of this?
Well, of course, I mean, you want the best of the best. And I'll be honest with you, I have not went through and stressed out the outer limits. It's just that when you begin to do things where you're placing more than say 30 trades at one time, you definitely want to have a machine that can handle that. Now the whole idea behind Linx is just like I was showing you this diagram. Is that if you can imagine, you can actually have one ionDESK application for getting quotes. You can have another for managing orders. So you can distribute, your order processing however you want to do it. So it doesn't really, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but if there were true constraints and you wanted to go beyond one computer, that's what this API is able to do. You can distribute to any computer that you want to if you have multiple.
What I did with my app is I'm running it all on a laptop, and I poll about 1,500 stocks every 20 seconds, and then I do about 100 every 2 or 3 seconds. Okay. And so I build up about, I don't know, a couple of gig or more of data a day, and I was starting to, with the different things, the apps that I had with running the database and polling and all that sort of stuff, the processor was shooting up to about 50-60% utilization and slowing down a little bit of time, especially with the Etrade Pro on as well. What I did is I started using Hyper-V and split it off so that the database is in one Hyper-V session, the polling is in another one, and the UI stuff is in another one again. And now my processor ticks around at about 8% to 15%. So it dropped considerably. There's a point of interest.
It sounds like the CPU that you're working with can more than handle this, application that you wanted to build. I would say that, we did do some stress tests, and if you're beginning to trade probably upward, like around 300 trades, then, you're definitely going to have to redistribute your order processing. If you have complex orders, like you're just submitting limit orders, then, and you're going to do your own polling to sell, then you can probably get more with that same laptop.
Okay, so a couple more questions before we go. With Etrade, have you experienced any issues with performance in terms of the response? So that, if I was wanting to be polling every second for, say, 20 stocks or 30 stocks.
Yeah, well, you're always going to be up against the limits of the API. Like, they only allow us to get a quote every fourth of a second. So, when you begin to do the math, let's say if you have 100 stocks that you're polling, then that means that just got cut down to 1 per second. Okay.
I understand perfect. I'm using an API that I can go and put in 1,500 stocks in one call, and I'll get one response back for the 1,500. A lot of the systems out there, you've got to pay like $10,000 or $15,000 a month to be able to get that. A lot of the services, but this particular service I use is pretty economical from that point of view. So I get that. So I'll probably do my own polling and just use your system for doing the order processing. I think that would probably be a better way to do it. Okay.
If you have a mechanism for bringing in data that is far more robust than Etrade, then I would say continue to use that as your data feed, and then just use ionDESK to place the order through.
Yeah. Okay. And what are you charging for this on a monthly basis?
On a monthly basis, the minimum that you would need would be $99 a month.
900?
$99 a month.
Oh, $99 a month. But this is including the API?
Yes.
That's really good. Okay.
I know.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
I was
You sure you make money on it?
Huh?
Hey, I just before we go, I just got to say that having been a developer and head developer, I think how many developers you got? Just like 2 or 3 of you, isn't it?
No, it's just me.
Just you. Well, you're doing a fabulous job there. That's amazing for one person, and running a business around it as well. So it's really, really, really good. I would have liked to have had someone like you on board when I had my business.
Well, I appreciate it.
Really good.
But do you have any other questions?
No. Well, we can follow up later with it. Maybe you could just send me an email about the process of how to get this going in a test mode, and what DLLs would be needed, whatever you think is appropriate, and then I can start maybe playing around with it.
Yeah, I'll be able to. I'll package up you a custom application, put it in a zip file, and everything will be ready to go. And you just open it up, and then you can start to communicate with ionDESK basically the same way that we did over the past 30 minutes. And so I'll have you a plain vanilla place order, and then I'll have you a load from file order, and then you'll be able to do both of those without any problem.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I'll talk with you maybe during the week.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, cheers.
Bye-bye.